afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. We heard this morning from our entrepreneurs about how technology is driving change. And of course, with the rapid changes in technology, a whole host of dynamics comes to the fore. On one hand, you get the technological gap, the so-called digital divide, and the problems of access that can bring. On the other hand, however, you have the specter of complete transparency and issues of privacy that comes with that. I just finished reading the book by Dave Eggers called The Circle. I don't know, have any of you read that book? I found the future described in that book particularly chilling. Our next session is on exactly that. It's on the future of digital communication and the internet. And it's going to be a conversation between Lally Weymouth from the Washington Post and Maurice Lévy, the chairman and CEO of the Publicis Group. So please, if I can invite our speakers to the stage and take us into the future.
They said you're supposed to sit. Or you want me to sit there? For the ladies. Oh, sorry. Okay. Whatever. Very sexist remark, right? We'll overlook that. Maurice, you're already in trouble. Okay, so we have to hold these things again? All right. So I'm sure you all know Maurice, who is one of the most brilliant executives, I think, in the world. And I've known him for many years. And he's also a lot of fun if you get to talk to him, and very charming, too. So there's an ad. So
this is a woman reaction. You should not have this kind of reaction.
Come on, Maurice. Okay, what we're supposed to talk about right now is the future of the digital era. And I think we both know a lot about it, myself because of being a journalist, and yourself because of running Publicis, one of the biggest advertising agencies in the world. And so I'd like to ask you, first question is, how has the digital era, the coming of the digital era, affected advertising, the advertising world that you've inhabited for so long and you've dominated for so long?
First, I would like to say that if I'm taking that seat, it's because I don't want to see my team. I don't want to be embarrassed by the way they will be looking at me. So that's the reason. It's not because of the color. The second thing I would like to say is that I don't believe that the future is chilly, and we should not be fearing about what the future will be. It is exciting. There is a lot of changes which are happening, and clearly there is a revolution which is on its way. There are some good aspects with that revolution, which is the fact that there is a new generation of people, there is a new way of communicating, there is a lot of things which are changing, and there is also the terrible aspect, which is that some businesses will be out of business. Yeah. And that is the scary aspect. But when you look at, I know that there are particularly the press which is affected, and that is the bad aspect. But when you look at the history in the last centuries, there is a lot of businesses which have disappeared, and a lot of others who came and that have developed and grown and changed the landscape. So we should not be fearing about the future.
So do you think the traditional newspapers, like, for example, the Washington Post and other traditional newspapers are through because of breaking news, the internet, et cetera, et cetera?
I think that there is always a way to win in a difficult world. Washington Post has a fantastic brand which is unique in its in this environment. It's a brand which is made of integrity, of trying to always find the truth, being tirelessly investigating the facts, double-checking, and all this is probably what we can find at its best in terms of journalism. And be it on paper, or be it in a different way, can be a web TV, can be a new form of communication. There is a place for the Washington Post, and I think it will last, and the brand will last. And there is probably other aspects that the brand can do beyond just journalism.
Yeah, of course, I wasn't just talking about the Post. We don't have to go into this, but I was meaning all traditional newspapers. But I think one of the most interesting things today is that most people read at least our research shows that most people are getting news on either their smartphone or their tablet. I think last summer, the Washington Post had more readers for the first time on a smartphone or a tablet rather than on a desktop, WashingtonPost.com, obviously. How do you think that is affecting advertisers? And will they be able to adopt to the small screen? Will they, like car pictures, for instance, if you wanted to buy an automobile that had a beautiful picture on a TV, will they be able to adopt? How do you think the advertisers are doing with the new smartphones?
Smartphone, let's say mobility, rather than smartphone, because it's smartphone, it is tablets, and it is a lot of other tools which will be invented tomorrow. Mobile communication is what will dominate the world. And it is something which will be probably changing the way we, advertising agencies, will think about our target audience. And we will not think only about who is the target, but where is the target. And we can change the way we are communicating with our audiences, because not only will we know who they are, but we will know where they are, and we can address them in a way which is extremely interesting. That is the first thing. The second aspect is technology. And if you look at the tablets today, you can have something which is almost as good as what we have on TV, with a very good definition of the image. When it comes to smartphone, we are not yet there because of the size of smartphone, and obviously when we have a video that you are looking on a smartphone, better that you have glasses to look at them, particularly when you are at my age. But otherwise, I'm pretty sure that we can deliver the message, even if the definition is not fantastic today, and we will see some improvement tomorrow. There is already, when you see the iPhone 6, or when you see the Galaxy from Samsung, the S5, you have already a lot of improvement in terms of the quality of the image. So I think that not only we can address the person at the right time, at the right place, but with the right message and with a quality message which is something which will add value to the communication. So I'm not worried very much about the quality of the smartphone, because I'm pretty sure that things will improve dramatically.
That's interesting. I had an advantage over everybody here in that I got to have lunch with Maurice. And one of the most interesting things I thought you said was that due to the information that is gathered through technology by the advertisers, you're able to use GPS to do some special things in advertising. I wondered if you wanted to share those thoughts with our audience.
This is something which already exists when you look at Foursquare, for example. I think that everyone knows the application of Foursquare. So you are at a place. Generally, people say we are at Starbucks. Okay, we will say that we are the Normandy Hotel. And you look at the people you know, and you will have by GPS the place where they are. And they are at the Royal, or they are at the casino, or they are here. And you can connect with them and have immediately a communication. So that is something which already exists, and it's working quite well. For example, if you are nearby Bloomingdale, Saks, or Galeries Lafayette, we can tell you you have 5 minutes to go, and there is a promotion for you, which is very special. And you go there, and you can get your promotion. If you are in the same department store, we can tell you you are at this level, and there is a promotion for women underwear at the 6th floor. So you go there, and there is a sign which is forbidden for men, and you can enter quietly and get the promotion.
Oh, well, that's really something else.
Something else. Okay, you can get something else.
Now, as you know better than anybody else, advertisers have been writing branded content, and they have whole departments writing what we call branded content. It used to be called advertorial, and there used to be a big debate in newspapers about, I can remember when there were big fights between the newsroom and the advertising departments. I sold one, I used to sell ads on the side, so I can remember when our newsroom used to say, well, we can't run this ad because it looks too much like our reporters wrote it. So there would be a big uproar over this. Now, of course, the uproar is gone because, frankly, newspapers can't afford anymore to have these disputes. But I guess my question is, this branded content has become so prevalent now, and it looks so much, I mean, the branded content tends to look so much like real content now. I wondered what you thought was the future of branded content. Will it continue? Will it succeed? How do you see that?
Okay, you have seen probably the dispute at The Guardian, the British newspaper. They have decided to, in order to keep the journalists, that they will have a commercial advertorial developed by the journalists. And there has been a lot of debate regarding the fact that journalists will write advertorials. And they have done it. And the first thing that they have done with in the same or in the following issue of that first publication was to do some brand bashing on the advertiser in order to show very clearly that they are independent. So they take the money, they run, and at the same time they do some brand bashing. So this is to say we are independent. Regarding the future, and I think this is something which is not only about branded content, but it is about almost everything. I think that the key word will be blur, and all the borders will be blurred. We will see not only the blurring world between advertisers and advertising agencies and media. We will see also the blur between the platform, Facebook, Google, etc., and the media agencies, because we will have some aspect where we are collaborating, cooperating extremely well, and some aspect in which they will be competing against us, and we will be competing against them. We will see also some businesses which will be blurring totally, and I think that is...
One of those businesses?
Take one example, which is fairly simple, which is Samsung, which is quite... or Sony, because we are the advertising agency for Samsung.
Right.
So people can say, okay, it's a piece of advertising for the client, and a free one, so I should charge. So let's speak about Sony, who is not we are not the main agency for Sony. But Sony, when you look at the way they are operating today, they are blurring content, music, and the PlayStations.
Yeah.
You look at Microsoft, they are doing the same. And yes, I'm not mentioning anything about what Satya Nadella has said.
Why not?
They are not aware of what he said. That's the reason.
Of course they're aware.
But no, they are not interested in that.
Of course they're interested.
Now, it's always difficult for a man to speak about women, and he's always making mistake, starting with me. So that's the reason why I'm not commenting on what Satya has said. But
Well,
I
you
think
can say he made a mistake.
he made a mistake,
Okay,
definitely.
there you
Definitely,
was
he
a
made
good
a
point.
mistake. He should have just made a very short sentence, which was, we need more women, period. And starting to explain that we need more women, but they cannot because they are pregnant, etc. Boom, wrong. They should not ask for a raise, wrong.
But also, I think he was asking women to be like mice. He was asking them not to be equal to men and not to ask for raises and not to be what my friend Sheryl Sandberg said, lean in, basically. Not to be the equal of men. Men, of course, ask for raises. They, of course, ask for signing bonuses.
But obviously, they should ask for a raise,
So
not
he
to
was
me,
wrong.
but in the other companies.
Well, I hope most women
No,
would
I'm
agree.
telling clearly, only on other company. I'm speaking to my team. They should not ask for that because this is ugly. No, just kidding. I hope that despite the fact that it is 3 p.m. and that it is nap time, that you understand sense of humor,
Well,
even when it's not very good.
Group. You have a very impressive, speaking as an outsider, I think you have a very impressive group of women working for you, Maurice.
Yes, they are fantastic. I'm very proud of them.
About you.
Fantastic. I should say I love them, but in France, when you say I love them, it may be double meaning. So I prefer to say they are great.
Now, I think most women in the room know that your company, Publicis, tried to create a big merger this year with Omnicom, and it actually fell apart in the middle of the year. It was one of the biggest mergers. It was celebrated. I got it, Jennifer. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I wondered if you could tell us in just a few words what happened.
We failed. I think the first thing that we have to say is that it is a failure because we agreed to do something which was fantastic, which is to put the two companies together, and this would have really changed the industry. We had a clear, strong agreement, which was that we will do something which is very difficult, and it has proven to be difficult, which is to have a merger of equals. And obviously, no one is equal. That is what we learned. But we said, okay, we will try to do it, and we will do it. Probably that during the course of building this merger of equal, Americans, our friends from Omnicom, have maybe thought that it would be much better that one is leading the company, and instead of making a merger of equal, there is one who is slightly more equal than the other, and that the other is subservient. And obviously, the French should be subservient. And I didn't like the idea to be subservient when I have an agreement to be equal. And égalité is a word which is extremely important in France. So we discovered that they wanted to change the terms of the deal, and we said, no, we are not going to change. We have an agreement, we stick to the agreement, or we walk away.
All right, now,
And
Maurice,
they believe that due to the fact that we have been, as you said, very much out in the press, very much promoted, etc., and that we have been extremely involved in the promotion of this, and our picture, that of John Wren and mine, was the front page of many papers. We would be shy to walk away, and maybe they played on that aspect, but we considered that what was at stake was much more important than my personal image. Yeah. So I decided to say, wow, out. Bye-bye.
Okay. Maurice, I know there are many women in the room who would like to ask you a question, and can I call upon one of them? Would you like to stand up so I can see you? Or put your hand up? Go ahead. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Virginie Robert. I'm a reporter for Les Echos. And I'm really concerned about the blurring aspect you were mentioning earlier, because brand content is for newspapers a new way to find new revenues. But at the same time, as a reader, you want clarity in what you read. And the blurring of PR and information doesn't seem to me the good way to go about it. What do you think?
I think that no matter you do, no matter what you think, the world will change. You have already an enormous amount of content which is developed by bloggers, by a lot of people without checking the fact that the internet is full of information which are not information. And it's extremely difficult to extract what is the right information. And I think what will make the difference will be the brand of the issuer. If it is the Washington Post, we will know that facts have been checked and there is a clear separation. If it is something different, a new brand or whatever, we will not know. And this is something that you have to expect. It is already there. It is already there. So it is in our interest as advertising agencies that the separation is clear, and don't think that we like that when there is a confusion between the content of the media and our brand paid content. We don't like that because we think that the contract that we have with the consumer is to be honest, with a lot of integrity, and that they can read the message as a message, a commercial message, and not as content from the media.
Hi. Is there another question? Right there.
Hello, I'm Ana Maria Salazar. I have a daily radio show in Mexico. I have a daily TV show. I write weekly. And I find that many of my colleagues are I would like to say overworked, but we find ourselves that we have to not only do traditional media, but we're also doing digital media. And I find myself live on TV sending out messages. I find myself doing my radio show, and I'm trying to write into my blog. So my question has to do in terms of content. I do think that when you have us doing both multimedia and traditional media, the quality of your content has to be affected. And what I've been told is, when I complain or I mention this, is that, people aren't paying anymore for good content. So if you have this investigative reporting, the Washington Post, where you have someone investigating for weeks, if not months and years, to get, which results in Pulitzer Prize, it doesn't necessarily mean that that content is going to be translated into more revenue for your media group. So the question is, are we sacrificing quality of our content in terms of trying to do more multimedia? And two, does the quality of content matter in terms of the revenue that comes into the media groups?
Okay. Primeramente, estoy encantado.
Muchas gracias.
The issue of content and the issue of being in multimedia is one of the biggest in the future. And you have to see that people are overwhelmed with a lot of information. And clearly, in the tons of information that they are receiving, 60, 70, 80% is irrelevant. And how to extract the right information is a bit complicated. But I don't believe that as a person, you should sacrifice quality. And I believe that when you look at some blogs or some areas where there is within a TV station or a newspaper, you have a blog of a journalist, you see that the content of that journalist, and you can read Tom Friedman on a regular basis, is of very high quality standard, and he's not sacrificing the quality. And being in multimedia is not something good for you as a journalist, but one day you will have people who will go directly to your website and they would like to read you. Otherwise, what will happen in the future is that all this will be free, access through Google and other platforms, and you will lose the value of what you are delivering. If you stick to the quality and you increase that quality on a regular basis, at the end of the day, people will go to fetch you, and they will go to your website, and they will want to read you and nobody else. So don't sacrifice the quality, never, if I may.
Do you have another question, anybody? Otherwise,
You see.
I'll go right ahead. Okay.
There is a question somewhere. Yes, here.
Hello. I'm also a journalist, but from Poland. And I have to tell you, yeah, I agree. If we stick to the quality, then people are going to go on our blogs. But then we have to earn for our bread. So we'll need commercials on our blogs. And then we would have to sacrifice the truth for commercials, because people who come with money, they want us to include information about products into our articles. This is so-called native commercials. They don't want, I do not agree with you. I work in this business for 25 years. Right now, they don't want us to select information about products from informations about life or politics or whatever. They want to include those informations so it will be invisible for readers or viewers that it is commercial. So I agree, we are sacrificing the quality of the message to money, because we have to earn money.
No, 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 no. No, no, no.
Okay, I will come to you, you will pay me, and I will write the truth.
Okay, no, I will tell you. No, 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 I will not pay you. I will tell you. If the publisher, I'm very serious, this is a very important question. If the publisher is agreeing to that, he's wrong. And he is creating a real problem in the industry. The publisher should never accept to be paid to include information in articles. We have PR people who are showing the product and showing the quality of the product and the innovation, etc. And the journalist and the publisher are free to take it or not. Advertising is something which is different. But if the publisher is starting by accepting because the end of the month is a little bit difficult, the paycheck is a bit high, and he's accepting this, he's entering into a system which will be negative, which will destroy the value of the paper, and it will destroy the value that the paper has with the audience. So at the end of the day, he's doing a very bad decision, he's making a very bad decision, and it's working against his own interest.
Yeah, I work for television, but
But the television is the same.
But I'm talking about,
let's say media.
Yeah, but you said about blogs, you know? So this is, nobody is publishing it, it's my own, so I have
But
to
nobody is
decide.
asking you to...
I think I'm going to ask you the last question.
The last question, there is one here.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
You want a microphone? You want a microphone?
Okay, Marcia de Wachter, National Bank. I would like to rephrase the question. In fact, you said 70-80% of the information is irrelevant, but I think that 70-80% of the people want to read irrelevant information. And so it means that you have a dual society at one hand, people that want to read quality and want to pay for it, and that they read the Financial Times and the Economist. And the other side is people who don't want to pay for it, and they are reading irrelevant material, and that's how the business is doing.
No. I'm not speaking about quality paper, and I'm not speaking about quality TV. You can have a very popular TV show, and you can have a very popular newspaper with millions of people buying the paper or in the audience. And it is quality despite that the fact it is popular. So we should not mix quality paper with quality by itself. Quality is that the information is right. Quality means that it is with integrity, that the facts have been checked, and it can be very popular. So we should not have the feeling that the only thing which is working and the only thing where there is quality is with the quality paper or the quality TV. This is
but
not
where
the
do
case.
you place then the popularity of sensation?
No.
Okay. Anyway,
That, or something else.
I have sympathy with some of the questions. However,
You are the boss.
well, I mean, I sympathize with the desire for real content, et cetera, et cetera. The last question is going to be mine, and it's going to be: do you think that a video or stories have to have video in them, or be short? Because some of our editors are saying now that they see reading habits changing, and readers going toward maybe longer stories. And that's the last question.
Okay. We see an enormous trend coming where people read much less. They go to the information like a bird. They take just something, pick and choose a little bit of thing without going deep in the details. And the young audience is much more interested in video, the older audience also, but more the young audience. And they are not only looking for video, but also sharing, because it's a word which is extremely important in today's world. And video, be it advertising, content, or information, is something which is taking more and more volume on the net, which is probably one of the reasons why we have so many information on the cloud. So the idea that video will dominate is right. How it will be used and how we will be including this in the blogs, in the website, in the information, in the papers, or the TV station, or the web TV, etc., is something which is making progress. And you have seen what's happening with Facebook, and we see also with Twitter, we can add video, etc. And I believe that this will dominate the world of tomorrow.
Okay, I would like to thank our very active audience, our very thoughtful audience, and above all, I'd like to thank Maurice Lévy, who, as you know, really underwrites, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but basically backs the Women's Forum, has backed it for 10 years, and is also a brilliant CEO. Thank you.
Merci. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.